so that's his problem.
She knew it too.
That ain't got nothing to do with me.
Like,
I slept with another dude one time with a condom. Yeah, I got me a good sugar daddy. My sugar daddy been there for 10 years, have never ever left my side. I would never leave him. He come way before this.
My god sister was having unprotected sex with another man, was already pregnant.
How she feels just because me and the other guy were still kicking it doesn't mean we were still having sex at that time.
That's what we were doing, kicking it.
No, we were having sex.
All we was doing was kicking it.
Ms. Brown Murray is outraged. She came home from serving in the military only to find her husband, Mr. Murray, accusing her of infidelity. Mr. Murray now denies being the father to Ms. Brown's child and insists that she got pregnant way too quickly after returning home.
Ms. Brown Murray, today you say you stand before me outraged because your husband has accused you of infidelity while serving in Iraq. He now doubts paternity of your child.
Yes, Your Honor.
What is this? Opposite day? I mean, I don't mean to be too judgmental. That's what Judge Lake is here for. I just don't see this situation very often. It's usually the other way around most times, and that just makes me even more interested to see how this goes.
Ms. Brown Murray, what is life like overseas for a married woman?
I'll be honest, when you're overseas at first, I mean, there's gonna be temptations, there's gonna be guys that look good, and there's gonna be guys all around. And you're gonna see guys, but that doesn't mean that you have to cheat.
Before we go any further, can we just acknowledge what a champ Ms. Brown is for actually being on the front lines and fighting for her country? Because it takes a lot to do that. It honestly just makes everything else seem trivial. Like Mr. Murray, just accept the baby as your own and move on. She's done enough already.
Mr. Murray, so what is it made you so doubtful about your wife's time overseas?
Well, she went overseas the day after Valentine's Day. My birthday is on the 12th. What made it scary for me, the first time me being alone in another state with no family.
You know what? I kind of get where Mr. Murray is coming from. It's have those intrusive thoughts when you're that much older than your wife, and also being so far away from her with no idea what she's doing and what kind of danger she's in must be crazy.
Yes, I lost 23 pounds, 25 pounds, not eating, crying. There was an incident, like she said, we on Skype, and I heard this enormous boom. Are they practicing? Americans are practicing, and she smirked at me. She says, this is a real bomb.
It's good to see that Mr. Murray respects his wife and her job just as much as we do, but I can't imagine the level of stress that both of them went through. Ms. Brown seems to have handled it super well, but Mr. Murray definitely took a big hit. He stressed out so much that it physically aged him.
You're there actually facing this danger.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you know he was nervous and fearful on this level, or did you feel like he was trying to hide that from you?
I mean, I knew about it at times, but at times he was controlling it just so I wouldn't be so scared.
Now we're getting somewhere, but again, Ms. Brown's level of composure is astonishing. It's definitely a far cry from the yells, insults, and screams we're used to on this show. That's why Mr. Murray has such strong doubts about this baby.
While I was there in the apartment complex, I met a few people. This apartment complex has 85% of military people, either still active or not. And this young boy told me, he said, which really, this is when I really got worried.
Well, that'll keep you up at night. And sure, it was all just hearsay from some guy Mr. Murray didn't even know, but you have to admit, that's the kind of story that could make anyone have doubts. The question now is, was Ms. Brown part of that horrifying statistic, or was she the exception?
Did you realize your husband got that piece of information?
Yes, but that's not true. Everybody in the military don't cheat on their spouse, and we don't have a code in the military.
Mr. Murray, let's just be honest. I mean, this situation, it's been bothering you.
Things are getting even more interesting. Ms. Brown is telling it like it is. All that stuff Mr. Murray had heard was BS, and she's never cheated on him. But he has a hard time believing that, and maybe we will too, once we hear from his mysterious witness.
Wanted you to testify today as to the dynamics, the goings-on in the military, because of course, as you know, he has definite concerns as to whether or not his wife was faithful and whether or not her child is his biological child. Can you explain?
Absolutely.
Temporarily divorced is wild, but I guess that's a small price to pay for freedom. Still, I wouldn't call that evidence against Ms. Brown. That's just something that happens in the military. But who knows? Things could take a turn at any moment.
Ms. Brown Murray, you had a close friend overseas.
Yes, I did.
Is that who your husband thinks the father of your child really is?
Yes, that's who he thinks that I had sex with.
Wait a minute, let me back that up. When I picked her up, I'm asking her, I thought it was kind of odd. Why is he calling you? Oh, just to make sure I'm doing okay.
Oh man, that's not what I'd call a strong accusation. Until we hear something really incriminating, I think Mr. Murray might be clutching at straws here. His paranoia got the better of him, and it shows.
It didn't stop right there.
But it didn't stop right there?
Because when we got our next apartment, she's sitting on the couch. She had bought me some Jordans, and I'm wearing my Jordans. She's talking to him. I heard her tell him, he's not stupid.
This one's kind of complicated, folks. I feel for Mr. Murray, I really do. I also get why he could be skeptical. I mean, that first story about married women in the military, yikes. But I also feel like a lot of his doubts are stemming from his own insecurities.
So while you're giving your husband a gift, you've got your friend on the other line on the phone.
Yes, Your Honor.
A male friend.
Yes, Your Honor.
And so your husband thinks you're being flirtatious. And if anyone would know how you sound when you are flirting, it would be your husband.
You can tell how much Mr. Murray's doubts have affected this relationship, but somehow, Ms. Brown doesn't seem fazed at all. She's confident that she's done nothing wrong, and Mr. Murray is looking more and more insecure by the minute.
Is it common when you return home to continue a relationship, friendship with some of your fellow servicemen, even if they're members of the opposite sex and married? Is that common to continue those relationships because of the bonds built?
Boy, this guy has some dark stories. I get why Mr. Murray is so on edge now. His insecurity plus this former soldier in his ear combined to form a recipe for disaster. But again, he's talking about his own experiences, not Ms. Brown's.
And so, Mr. Murray, as you listen to your witness, these are the kinds of ideas that fuel your doubt. And I am sure, Ms. Brown Murray, as you so eloquently state, that there are people that honor their marriages, their relationships, and don't necessarily engage in this type of activity. So I'd like to thank your witness. Thank you, sir, for your testimony.
Who would have thought someone who had been on the front lines in Iraq would call anything else hard? That's just a testament to the amount of stress Ms. Brown went through because of Mr. Murray's doubt. She just wears it a lot better than her partner.
So describe, what is it like at home?
Even with the doubt, he's still a good husband. He's still a good father. He sits there and he takes time out with her. He plays with her. He takes care of her when I'm at work. So even with the doubt, he's still a good father. He still takes care of her.
I have other kids. All my kids is a split image of me. She doesn't too much look like me.
You know what? Mr. Murray's doubts aren't too far-fetched if you think about it. His wife's absence clearly destroyed him, and every little rumor he heard got translated to what was probably going on with Ms. Brown. It was all put in his head, and it's time to find out if he needs to block out all the noise or if he was right all along.
Mr. Murray, it has been determined by this court that you are her father.
Thank you.
I think my niece.
Mr. Calhoun feels duped. According to him, Ms. Prout is desperately trying to trick him into believing he was the father of her daughter, Amia. But Ms. Prout is just as adamant that Mr. Calhoun is the dad, and the only reason he's denying it is to escape child support. Let's see how this one pans out.
Mr. Calhoun, you say the defendant tried to trick you into believing you are her daughter Amaya's biological father. But after uncovering evidence that she slept with other men, you are positive the DNA will prove you are not. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Calhoun seems pretty darn confident. I'm not sure if that's because of his evidence or if he's just deluded himself into thinking he's not the dad. Either way, keep doing what you're doing, man. It's helping your case already.
Mr. Calhoun, you say Ms. Prout is pinning this child on you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why?
Me and Miss Prout have been friends for a while, but when I seen that she wanted to make a relationship out of things, I cut her off, and I just kind of pushed away from her.
You didn't cut her off, pal. You barely even ghosted her. I don't know what cutting off means to Mr. Calhoun, but if it involves continuing to have unprotected sex with someone, he might want to think of another phrase.
So, Ms. Prout, you still continued to have sex with him after he made it clear he didn't want to be in a relationship?
Correct, Your Honor, I did.
And at some point you found out you pregnant?
Yes, ma'am. Me and a family member of his, we went to the store. I bought a pregnancy test, went back to his house, took the test. It was positive. The lines were fainted.
Ooh, way to dig up the dirt Mr. Calhoun. Now that's an incriminating testimony. I don't understand why Ms. Prout would even want to have a baby with someone who wants nothing to do with her, but hey, that's just one side of the story.
Did you say that, Miss Prout?
No, Your Honor, that was not what was said. I did not take any fertility pills. Once I found out I was pregnant, let me tell you how
Now,
crazy.
who's got
This
amnesia?
is the crazy part. I did not believe I was pregnant. I went to about 4 or 5 different emergency rooms.
These two are going bar for bar, and the crazy part is, both of them seem super confident in what they believe. The only question now is, who's telling the truth and who's lying? Let's check out this calendar and see who breaks first.
The red indicates the date you were intimate with Mr. Calhoun twice,
Unprotected.
unprotected, and the yellow indicates the window of conception. So as you can see, the day you said you had sex with Mr. Calhoun falls directly in the window of conception.
Yes, Your Honor.
Even after the dates got whipped out, Mr. Calhoun is still super composed. Why is this guy so confident? What does he know that we don't? And did you see that reaction by Ms. Prout? Someone's about to get caught up in a lie, and I have a feeling it's going to be Ms. Prout.
I have reason to believe that after a conversation that me and Miss Prout had on the phone, she told me that she was having sex with a dude all the way up until the day of the July 24th.
Oh!
Why does all that sound made up? Mr. Calhoun has Ms. Prout sweating for a minute, but she seems to have recovered well. Like I said, these two are going bar for bar, blow for blow, and it's time for Ms. Prout to hit Mr. Calhoun with a counterattack?
At the end of the day, he really denied my baby because he on child support. Period. Point. That's it.
It has no.
We
It
done
has
been back
no
and
deal
forth.
with child support,
One
Your Honor.
minute I'm the daddy, I'm happy, whoop-de-whoop blam. Then the next minute I'm not the daddy when you get hit with them papers.
Oh man, the distrust between these two is insane. I bet Mr. Calhoun wouldn't believe Ms. Prout if she told him the sky is blue. But let's move on. I really want to know why in the world he agreed to sign the birth certificate.
And she's laying there, the baby's in the nursery, and she's doing her paperwork. She says, "I'm doing this paperwork. Do you wanna sign it for your daughter?" I said, "I don't know if this is my daughter. I want a DNA test." She tells me, "Oh, the hospital doesn't provide DNA tests. We have to get our own."
Well, that wasn't very helpful. We still have no idea why Mr. Calhoun signed the birth certificate. He looks smart enough to know that signing a birth certificate if you're not sure about paternity is a big no-no. So Mr. Calhoun, what happened?
So wait a minute. So how did you end up signing the birth certificate?
Oh, okay, Your Honor. So we're in there by ourselves. I told her I didn't want to sign without a DNA test. So she gets to basically making me feel like a bad guy. Like, you know you had unprotected sex with me. You know that's your daughter. I even look at the papers. And see
If what those partners said to Mr. Calhoun is true, then it's safe to say that Ms. Prout gets around. She's got Mr. Calhoun so stressed out that he is making up words. Let's see what else he has to say.
My second doubt, Your Honor, is the situation with Facebook. May I elaborate?
Please.
This is barely 3 weeks after she's born. And it's brought to my attention, hey, there's some guy next to your baby's picture, and there's comments up under it. Everybody is saying like, hey, this is his baby.
Now this is what we came here for. What a wild thing to say to someone who could be your baby's father. Unless, of course, you know he's not the father and you're just using him for child support.
You trying this case, ain't you, Mr. Calhoun?
Yes, Your Honor.
Trying this case. I know that's right. So you brought some evidence from Mr. Calhoun. Why you posting this pic if you said I was the father? From Kia, Miss Prout. You a dumb blank. You signed the birth certificate knowing you ain't the father, and then you changed her last name while I was still drugged up.
What? Didn't anyone ever tell Ms. Prout that the internet never forgets? It's a good thing Mr. Calhoun brought receipts because there's no way I'd have believed this story on face value. Let's see if Ms. Prout can wiggle her way out of this one.
So let's just understand that we're here to tell the truth. Were there any other men?
No, Your Honor, there was not.
You don't believe that, Mr. Calhoun?
No, Your Honor, I do not. Because the way she
All right, well, this court has identified a witness and they have something to say. Jerome, will you please escort the witness into the courtroom?
Judge Lake just gave Ms. Prout the opportunity to come clean. And surprise, surprise, she didn't take it. She's sticking to her guns, which, depending on how this goes, will either be super assertive or super delusional. So who is the court's surprise witness? And can they flip this case on its head?
You have information as to what the relationship was between Ms. Prout and Mr. Calhoun.
That's correct, yes, Your Honor.
Please explain to the court.
My godsister was having unprotected sex with another man. Also, before he came into the picture, myself and also other members felt that my godsister was already pregnant.
Ooh, Ms. Dawson came in guns blazing. And just look at Ms. Prout's face. She knows she's screwed, and you can almost hear her thinking about how she's going to fight her way out of this hole. But until then, Ms. Dawson has more to say.
So you were there when this all transpired?
Correct.
Before she met Mr. Calhoun and reconnected with him?
Yes, Your
Now,
Honor.
she admits to the court that she had been dating another man before him, but she says she stopped sleeping with that man 2-3 weeks before she ever met Mr. Calhoun. You say that's not true?
No, Your Honor.
I couldn't have said it better, Judge Lake. All she's missing now is an orange jumpsuit and a couple of questionable tattoos. Oh man, this is getting intense.
I mean, Your Honor, I love my god sister, but baby, you wasn't there. You know, you can't just say, I mean, I expect your opinion or whatever, but you can't just say who I was sleeping with and what I was doing.
How do you respect somebody's opinion that's supposedly a lie about you?
I'm just saying, if that's how she feel, I can't change how she feel.
And what a mess this is. Both of them came prepared to leave it all in the courtroom. But we've got to say it like it is. Ms. Prout is getting hammered. It was already bad enough before her godsister came on. But now, this case is slipping through her fingers.
What relationship does Mr. Calhoun have with your daughter?
He hasn't seen her since she was 2 months.
Not since she was 2 months old.
No, ma'am. Because I felt totally humiliated and embarrassed by that Facebook stuff, man.
No, you felt totally humiliated.
I
with
really
the
did.
child support papers
Because
is what it was.
even I wasn't worrying about child support, Your Honor.
Good for you, Mr. Calhoun. It's never wrong to step up for yourself and take a stand when people push you around. The only problem is, he already signed the birth certificate, which means he's legally obligated to provide for that child.
So he has stepped up and acted like a father.
Exactly.
This
And I'm not
other
gonna
man is
deprive
the
him of
other
that.
man you slept with.
Yes, it's him.
Well, Miss Prout,
What am I supposed to think?
what is he supposed to think?
But he knows that he's not her father.
Have
don't
you
know
taken
that.
a DNA test?
No.
Just when you thought things couldn't get any worse, it turns out the other guy has been playing dad ever since the baby was born. I'll tell you what, the DNA test results are in, but I have a feeling that the drama is far from over.
Mr. Calhoun, you are the father.
Wow.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy.
You are Amaya's biological father.
Yeah, it's a really hard pill to swallow, Your Honor.
This one is a doozy, folks. Miss Lee is determined to prove that Mr. Green is the father of her 3-year-old son, Kingston. According to her, Mr. Green has denied her son from the moment she got pregnant. And on the other hand, Mr. Green says he knows exactly who the father is, Ms. Lee's sugar daddy.
Ms. Lee, you have come to court today with one goal in mind, to prove to Mr. Green that he fathered your 3-year-old son, Kingston. You say Mr. Green has denied your son from the moment you got pregnant, but today his denial will end. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
3 years is a long time to play the cat and mouse paternity game. The kid is old enough to ask who his dad is and where he's been the whole time. So I totally understand Ms. Lee's frustration. Hopefully, little Kingston can get some answers today.
Mr. Green has been denying my child since day one. He's been denying them for 3 years. He has never came around like he's supposed to. I have to call. I have to do so much to get this man into my child's life. But at the end of the day, I just want him to step up.
Well, Mr. Green, I hate to break it to you, but when it comes to the kid's birthday party, the middle doesn't exist. All Kingston is going to think about is how his daddy didn't show up, not how he tried to meet mom in the middle.
At the point me and her was talking, it was back and forth. We was never in no steady relationship. She knew I had a girlfriend already. She tried to break me up from that, and I told her
He moved into my home. So if I try to break him up, why are you in my home?
Your Honor, she knew I had a girlfriend. She even tried to call
He
me
knew he had a
girlfriend.
girlfriend, so that's his problem.
Ms. Lee does not mince her words. She tells it like it is, and in my opinion, that's a hell of a good trait to have. And come on, Mr. Green, living with someone you have an unstable relationship with while you have a girlfriend is just asking for trouble.
In your mind, you knew you weren't really in a relationship with him, but you thought he was trying to play both sides.
Right.
Before I got there, she had already was back. She told me she was back and forth between some other dudes. She didn't know if it was his or mine at first.
Yes, I did. I slept with another dude one time with a condom.
Are these two trying to break Judge Lake's neck? They're throwing barbs back and forth like it's a championship game of ping pong. And you know what? I'm starting to think that Ms. Lee is a bit of a loose cannon.
You submitted to the court Facebook posts from Ms. Lee that say, is it wrong to have choices on men and blank all on the first day just in case the D ain't good? Just asking.
Oh, that's a
her.
question. That was recently. And that's not when King was born, 2015 now.
Ms. Lee needs a social media manager because her posts are insane. I mean, how does she not melt or run out of the courtroom at full speed as the judge reads her posts? Good for her for owning her work, though. Hey, she's a single woman with needs. What more do you want from her, Mr. Green?
So in your mind, Mr. Green, when you see these posts, you say she's out with whoever got the good D.
Yeah, basically.
I was out with,
Basically.
that was recently.
And you admittedly say that's what I'm looking for. That's what I
I
have.
don't sugarcoat nothing. It is what it is, but I just want him to step up because at the end of the day, he knows that he's doing wrong.
These two are all kinds of messy. Ms. Lee is all about that good D. Be careful what you do once you get it, Ms. Lee, or we might be seeing you again very soon. But when you have to literally trick someone to get them to spend time with their child, that's just sad.
Cause I went over there, but we didn't do nothing.
We did something.
Your Honor, she just wanted me to come. She said she wanted me to come over and watch him. You know, keep an eye on him, and she wanted to spend some time with him. And the position I was in at the time, he couldn't come to my place because her and my girlfriend, they had problems.
Unlike most women who come on this show, Ms. Lee isn't after money or child support from Mr. Green. All she wants is for him to offer his time and show up for his son.
Ms. Lee, I want you to take me back. You find out you're pregnant. What happens? Do you tell him immediately?
When I found out I was pregnant, I took a pregnancy test and I told him that I was pregnant. And then I guess he didn't believe me, so he took me to the clinic and they told him I was pregnant. That paper don't lie. So when he found out, he denied right then and there.
Oh man, speaking your mind is both a blessing and a curse. Ms. Lee is proud about having a sugar daddy. Everyone in the courtroom is shocked and appalled. But hey, at the end of the day, they're not paying her bills. Her sugar daddy is.
Pictures and pictures and something else is totally, sex and pictures are totally different. So yeah, I send pictures. Hey.
This sugar daddy paid for the baby shower too.
Baby shower, he buys clothes for him, he does everything.
Where were you? You ain't bought nothing. You should be surprised another dude is doing something.
I know the whole point of going to court is being honest and letting the truth reign supreme. But geez, Ms. Lee is way too honest. Imagine what hearing all that does to Mr. Green's ego. It doesn't inspire him with confidence, that's for sure.
Lied on purpose and
I told him that because
3
at
years
the end of the day,
straight.
I want to continue
3 years straight.
doing stuff with him, you know, without.
Come on,
and
man.
I knew I was on
Oh,
death.
so you didn't want to use a condom?
He didn't either. We did it the first day without. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, and I got pregnant because we didn't do it once. We were doing it for the whole month.
It's hard to keep up with all the mind-blowing details Ms. Lee has been casually dropping throughout this case. So when Mr. Green says he doesn't know what to believe, I get it, because I feel the same way.
So when you told him you were pregnant, his response was what?
It ain't mine.
And that was your first response?
You didn't say it wasn't yours?
I said, I don't know, it ain't mine.
You don't know.
It's not
Okay.
mine.
So,
Where were you?
okay, I don't know, it's not mine, but you admittedly were sleeping with her unprotected.
Yes, I was, Your Honor.
Mr. Green better have some juicy evidence on that exhibit, because as it stands, Ms. Lee's enthusiasm and brutal honesty has her ahead in this race to the truth. She's so fired up even the judge can't handle her.
All right, first of all, he was born on June 3rd. I went to the hospital. I asked the hospital, you know, can we go ahead and get DNA testing done, whatever. So a few days later going by, she's telling me, oh, it's too soon for him to come outside. He was just born, this and that. She refused right then, Your Honor.
I refused because he was a day old.
Well, that was something. Not the bombshell evidence I was hoping it would be, but hey, we don't always get what we want, do we? Ms. Lee must be buzzing right now, though. Mr. Green just took the stage with his mystery exhibit and she came out unscathed. How lucky is she?
Sounds like to me, I mean, you all doing a whole bunch of nothing. Like, it doesn't take this long to get a DNA test.
What he wanted me to do was pay for it. I felt like we both had them. You pay half, I pay half. But they ain't got
But it just feels like, I mean, both of you all going back and forth, back and forth. It's like a power play after power play. I mean, Kingston wants some papa play.
Exactly. Ms. Lee has done some pretty questionable things, don't get me wrong, but at least she's been honest about it all. On the other hand, I haven't heard much about where Mr. Green's doubts are coming from.
Like I said, when he was first born, she was saying, she did admit that she slept with someone. Then on top of that, after he was born, she kept asking me, oh, let me see your baby pictures. Let me get your baby pictures, trying to compare them. And once she got the baby pictures, that's when she felt like she was 100%.
Bingo.
You know,
bingo.
She was
Don't they look like the
100%
same
sure.
baby?
Well, I'll be damned. If I didn't know any better, I'd say those were two pictures of the same baby. We all know looks mean nothing in this court, but how does Mr. Green not see this? They're basically twins, for crying out loud.
In foster care, there is a trauma innate in that. And I see the tears in your eyes. I believe now, I understand even more why you are so persistent about this. I think it's your desire to break a generational curse, and I see that.
Ms. Lee has been a cheerful ball of radiance this whole time, but now the veil is dropped and we can see her for who she really is. A mom who just wants her son to grow up with a dad. These two have gone back and forth for years, but it's finally time to settle down, take in the truth, and forge a better path for the next generation. Take it away, Judge Lake.
Mr. Green, you are the father.
Told you! I told you! Look at him! Look at him! 3 years!
You are the father.
Oh my God. Woo! Thank you. Thank you.